Looks like come November, we are going to have a Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton general. James Lacy is with us. Now, let me explain this. James Lacy is our guy in California who has constantly ranted against the state of liberal politics in California. And I'm going to ask you this question. Can you see the day coming when Donald Trump would beat Hillary Clinton in the general in California? You're not going to tell me that he beats Hillary in California this year. Are you going to tell me that?
Well, I'm not going to promise you that. I might not even bet on it. But I want to tell you, in this election year, odder things have happened. I mean, who would have thought last summer when Donald Trump announced that he was going to run for president that he would be the GOP nominee today? And I want to tell you something. The last time I was on your show, I predicted that Donald Trump would win the California primary and that would take him into the national convention. And that's what's happened. I'm just sorry that he didn't have the opportunity to confront Cruz, because Trump has so much support in this state. He would have gotten 60 or 65% of the vote. I mean, that's really the case.
Do you think
but let's step back and look at...
Do you think that Trump has a better chance of beating Hillary in California than any other Republican candidate?
He absolutely does. And let's step back and look at some of the statistics. 4 years ago, Romney lost terribly to Obama, 60% to 37%. But there was an initiative on that ballot that really reflects the truth about California. California really isn't as liberal a state as it votes, according to public opinion polls. There was a proposition called Proposition 30 on the ballot. It was a tax increase. It passed with 55% of the vote to 45% of the vote. Now, there was about a 1.5 million gap between the yes and the no. And that reflects the difference, the real difference in California between Democrats and Republicans. There were 12.5 million people who voted in that election. Now, let me startle you, Stuart. Californians don't vote. In the last presidential election, less than half of eligible voters voted. So that means that there were about 12.5 million voters on the sideline. Why are they on the sideline? Because they're disenchanted. Their taxes are too high. The unemployment is too high. All Donald Trump has to do is tap into about 10 to 12% of that vote, and he's competitive. And I think that that's what scares the Democrats, because...
Wait a second. Are you holding out the vague hope from your side of the fence, the political fence, the vague hope that Trump could pull off a wild and crazy upset win in California against Hillary? Are you holding out that hope there, Lacy?
One of my favorite movies when I was a kid was called Pollyanna. But let me say this. If Trump can just be competitive in California, he can win the national election. And here's why. California is a very expensive media market. The Democrats have won at every election since 1988. But if Trump can close that 10% gap that I'm talking about and force Hillary to campaign in this state, it's going to take away resources from the Democrats and all the other swing states that they need to be there. And Trump is pulling it together in California. Okay. I can tell you, I can say that the Trump campaign will announce today that Congressman Darrell Issa, a very important and powerful figure in California, the father of the recall of Gray Davis, is today endorsing Donald Trump. He's been a spokesman.
That's news. That's one more in the Trump camp. James Lacy, I got to go, but thanks very much for joining us. Keep that hope alive from your side of the fence. You know, it's not exactly wild and crazy dreaming. All right, Lacy, we'll see you later. Check that big...